Hello and welcome to this special episode. Hyundai presents Beyond Mobility, driven by intelligent technology, sustainability and innovation in partnership with Times Now. Hyundai Motors over the years has been constantly working to enhance and further advance the automobile sector when it comes to four-wheelers. Constant innovation has led to better technology and has even put forth a sustainable growth for the company as well as society at large. So today, I have with me Hyundai Motor India's Tarun Garg. He's the Director of Sales, Marketing and Service. And with him, we will understand Hyundai's mantra further. Welcome to this very special initiative, Tarun. Let's begin this conversation. And I'm sorry I'm going to start on a slightly boring note by throwing some statistics at you, but as per statistics shared by McKinsey.com, the automotive industry pumped the brakes hard in early months of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Now, from the third quarter of 2020 through the first quarter of 2021, automakers around the world have seen rapid levels of production. How did Hyundai overcome the challenges posed by this very disruptive pandemic, where obviously you couldn't even stand next to your own colleague?
Thank you, Rahul, for having me here. Yes, you're right. Frankly speaking, this COVID was a very new animal for all of us, and nobody knew, what was in store. But what we have seen, over my past 25 years of experience in the auto industry, that any depression which has happened in India, it has been followed by a very strong recovery. And the Indian customer has been very, very resilient. And I think that was one driving force which was giving Hyundai the confidence that, yes, the market is going to bounce back. And we have to just see how the consumer is changing. Now, one of the key trends which was being observed was that, the shift towards personal mobility which was happening, because customer was looking for mobility which was safe, and he did not want to do shared mobility. And that was one very big driving force. The other thing was people were becoming much more sensitive towards the consciousness of the brand. We all say that, we have brand conscious. But what was becoming more important was to be a conscious brand. I think this is what drove Hyundai. We brought in a lot of innovations. As you know that we launched some 5 odd products in 2020 despite the pandemic. But how do we launch a product in times when, like you're saying, you could not stand next to your colleague?
Yeah.
So we had this concept called the next dimension, where we had a virtual launch of our products. We brought in some new technologies. We brought in air purifiers in our cars. We brought in ventilated seats. The whole idea was to really understand the customer well, to see what does this new customer want, and see how you could really reach this customer. I think that was the key. And rest, as they say, is history. I believe, and I'm very proud to say that auto industry, not only Hyundai, but has really contributed to the Indian economy coming back. The demand is almost reached the pre-COVID levels.
Now, we all know that the age of smart cars is approaching, and automobiles are increasingly making full use of electronic technology. And you mentioned a couple of new initiatives that you sort of incorporated technologically. And we were speaking a few days back at our summit with the Minister for Roadways and Surface Transport, Mr. Gadkari, and he really was stressing on electric cars, for instance. So what are you doing to move in that particular direction?
So look, we are always driven by our global vision of progress for humanity, and that is extremely important for us. And under this global vision, as you would know, that we have embarked on a brand campaign Beyond Mobility. Now there are 3 pillars here: innovation, technology, and sustainability. Now, if you ask about what are we doing on connected cars, what are we doing on electric cars, I think very, very important, because the core issue is how can we give quality time to the customers?
Yes.
So that when they're driving, they can really enjoy the driving. They're not really worried about how do I, what is the road which I have to take, or what kind of communication I want with my family. So I think that is where the connectivity comes in. You talked about sustainability, you talked about electric cars.
Yeah.
In 2019, when electric cars were just about being talked, Hyundai went ahead and brought in the Kona, which was the first full-fledged SUV EV, in India with a range of more than 450 kilometers. I think it received some great response. At the same time, we fully understand that, it's still a niche product. And to make a product which is really accepted by too many Indians, we will need to go into a mass market EV. So we have gone on record to say that we are already working on it. We are working on an ecosystem, not only in terms of charging infrastructure, but also in terms of how to bring the cost down. So that in probably less than 3 years, you would see a mass market EV from Hyundai as well. We had our new corporate office at Gurgaon, where we displayed the Ioniq 5, which is the EV brand, which we're very proud of. So Hyundai is working under the guidance of our parent company, Hyundai Motor Company, to really see how we can really make sure that we can bring in these technologies to India and make sure that we can all work towards a sustainable future. We can bring the emissions down, and I think we are really committed to this cause.
And how does all of this fit in with your new focus, which is beyond mobility? Can you explain that?
So I think this is very interesting, and like I said, the global vision is progress for humanity, and we are driven by that. And beyond mobility is basically an enhancement of the Hyundai brand, where what we are saying is there are 3 key pillars here. One is technology, because technology is what is very important, and intelligent technology can really make things very convenient for the customer. Innovations, of course, which can really give in so many options to the customers. And of course, sustainability, which I talked about. Because whatever we do, and especially for the millennials of today, I think brands which are really thinking about the Mother Earth, brands which are thinking about the planet, probably will be able to connect very well with the customers. So that is what is really driving us. And we believe that beyond mobility as a brand enhancement will really drive our company towards the goals. As you know, that Hyundai Motor Company has already announced that we are making all efforts, and we are in progress to become carbon neutral by 2045. So that's a very important agenda for us, and all of us are being driven by that. And I believe that going forward, this beyond mobility will be a good driving force for all the stakeholders associated with Hyundai Motor India to really see how we can really take the company forward while working on the 3 pillars of innovation, technology, as well as sustainability.
Well, it's very interesting because one of the obstacles, obviously, towards moving towards a carbon neutral world, obviously requires some amount of investment. And that's really the problem, isn't it? How are you going to transcend this? Because obviously it's going to take a lot of reconfiguration on your part.
So I think this is very interesting, Rahul. And if you see, Hyundai always has believed that while a global prowess in terms of technology is very important, but we have to bring in some India-centric solutions also.
Yeah.
So you would know that we were one of the first OEMs, to really bring in the OE-based connected car technology to India. And this technology is also, it has so many features which have been designed keeping the Indian customer in mind. For example, it gives the cricket scores. For example, the language which you use is very, general language. Like you say, blue link, I'm feeling hot or I'm feeling cold, and the temperature will automatically adjust to an ambient temperature. So we are talking about air purifiers. We are talking about ventilated seats at the rear also. Because in India, the rear seat is also used much more than, say, abroad. So the whole idea is that how can we really bring in so many new innovations which are actually leading to customer convenience. I think that is very important, because an Indian customer really wants things which are probably different from what a global customer may want. And Hyundai, as Hyundai Motor India, always keeps that in mind. I'll give another example here. You would have seen that the market, the trends are very much changing. The SUV market, India is now almost 37% of the market is SUVs. And I would say that Hyundai was one company which had spotted this trend, and we started investing into SUVs. And in 2020, we became the #1 SUV maker in India. The whole idea was, what does the customer want, and can we bring in some new products with technologies which can give convenience to the customers. And I think this really helps us. You don't run after volumes. As long as you get the features right, as long as you get the technology right, as long as you have the customer in mind, customer convenience in mind, I think everything else will fall into place automatically.
So you were referring to Blue Link, this technology. There's been so much chatter about it. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I think this is very, very interesting. And so it is basically based on artificial intelligence. And 7 of our models have a Blue Link technology. And I'm very proud to say that, now close to 25% of our sales are happening with models with, connectivity features. And there are now 60 plus features which are associated with Blue Link, and customers are really liking it. The usage is increasing. And we believe the whole idea is, even while driving, can you ensure that you are giving that quality time experience to the customer so that he can really drive the Hyundai car and enjoy it rather than really worrying about so many other things. I think that is the whole idea. Also, let me say that this connectivity is also associated with sustainability in a way, because the Blue Link will tell you, what is the best route you can take so that you can save fuel. The Blue Link will tell you whether the car requires any kind of a maintenance. The Blue Link will adjust your temperature automatically. The mobile phone associated with the Blue Link can really make it very convenient, not only in terms of engine on, engine off, geofencing, valet alert. So there are so many features which will make not only the environment more sustainable, but the customer feel very, very comfortable while driving a Hyundai car. So I'm also happy to report that we are now the market leader as far as the OE-based Blue Link connectivity is concerned, and we have a market share of 28%. And we are very sure that going forward, more and more models, as and when they are launched, they will come with this technology and make customers' life more comfortable and more convenient.
The very first car that you launched was the iconic Santro. I think most Indians own one. Launched in 1998. After that, you did not take too much time to bring out other variants and other models. And within months, you became the company to claim the second space, I think, in the Indian automotive market. What do you have in store for such buyers in India who are very, very passionate owners of cars? They see it, and it's involved so much with status, etc. So how does this sort of fit in?
I think this is a very important issue you have raised, So, yes, immediately, coming to India, we became the #2 manufacturer in India. And I'm proud to say that 2020, we are now in our 25th year. And 2020, we had the highest ever market share in our history, 17.4%. That clearly shows that we are on an ascent path. The Indian customers are actually loving the products of Hyundai, and not only products in terms of technologies, in terms of mobility, the kind of solutions we have been able to give. Now, if you see our product range, we are not afraid to really try out new things. In 2015, when we launched the Creta, that time this market was hardly there, but we went ahead and launched the Creta. Of course, 98, we launched the Santro. That time, Tallboy was not even talked about. But yes, it brought in a lot of convenience, not only to the males, but females who could have a very easy ingress and exit from the car. Then, this year, we launched the 6 and 7-seater Alcazar. Again, because what we realized was that so many customers are wanting to travel together. With COVID, what has happened is people have come very close to their families, and they are wanting to take vacations where they want to travel even long distances in a car, and where they want everybody to be very comfortable. Then we saw that many of our customers are really looking for a very niche kind of a product, because customization they want. They want a turbo engine where they could get that thrill. They want a car which is very different from other cars. That is where we launched the N-Line, the i20 N-Line. And again, we have managed a double-digit penetration in i20 with the N-Line. And we understand that it is basically a niche market. But the whole idea is, we believe that at Hyundai, we are committed that even if a few customers want a product from our stable, we would be not hesitating to really launch that product. So I think that is where we come in, and that is where we'll continue to innovate. The whole idea is this new generation MZ customers who are coming in, India being such a young country, and these customers, not only in terms of their disposable income, but also in terms of decision making, are playing a very important role, as far as car buying decisions are concerned. And we are really committed to make sure that these customers look at Hyundai in a much more connected, emotional level, apart from functional level as well.
So what is the profile, the category of the buyer, this customer that you're talking about? What's the profile, the buyer's age group? Can you elaborate on
So
this?
these customers are basically age group of say 28 to 35, and these are the customers who are wanting something very unique for them. They are the customers who are wanting that the brand should, beyond functionality, should also resonate in terms of their lifestyle, should resonate in terms of their views about the environment, the brand which makes them feel proud to be associated with. Plus, global technology. I think this is also very important because these customers are very, very connected. So they know what are the latest technologies which are coming in. For example, they're very, very fond of turbo. They're very, very fond of electric cars. They're very, very fond of cars which are fuel efficient. They're very, very fond of brands which are doing so many things from a CSV point of view. And if you see Hyundai, we have been doing so many activities, whether it is on water conservation, whether it is on road safety, whether it is on really motivating the downtrodden in the society, whether it is contributing to the PM cares. So the whole idea is to really share your resources with the society at large, so that together we can really take the country, not only our company, but country on a path of prosperity.
This is very interesting. So you're looking at a very differentiated yet limited category, age group, and you're sort of going, obviously, valorizing the right sort of, customer choices, if I'm allowed to say that. So this is very interesting because we have, of course, partnered you on several of these initiatives that you've taken. And one of them became quite an internet sort of hit also with Being the Better Guy, that campaign that you launched. So obviously you're looking at a more enlightened customer base also, and that's a very interesting focus. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Generation MZ. What is Generation MZ? It's an interesting, I suppose, bunch of letters. How does this come up?
So if you see, in fact, today's Times of India had a very interesting, profile that India's median age being 28, China, I believe, was 37, and how India is really, becoming a younger country, and how probably these are the people who are going to be not only deciding for themselves, but also being a kind of a role model for so many others. In families, they are becoming much more of a decision maker. So these are customers who carry a view of their own, and who really like to be noticed, and who, like I already said, that they are young, they are driven by choices, they are also impatient. So, for example, we had this click to buy, where you can buy a car end to end sitting at home. So these are the customers who would really want to try something like a click to buy. Then we had a Hyundai Mobility membership, because these customers want to be associated with a brand not only for buying that product, but maybe during the lifetime. So if they want to go to a restaurant, they want to be treated in a different way. When they're in the car, they want to be treated in a different way. So the whole idea is they are looking for that kind of emotional connect with the brand. And I believe these are the customers who are really driving not only their choices, but choices of the society as well. And we have seen that average age of a Hyundai buyer in the last 4 years has come down by about 4 years. So very clearly, it is not only India which is getting younger, but a car buyer is also getting younger. And people anyway, even if sometimes they are not so young, demographically, but at heart, they're definitely young, and they would also want to really be associated with a brand which is really giving them that kind of an emotional connect.
Well, let's focus a little bit on this focus of various consumers on using online sales channels to engage with businesses in every country. And we're seeing this now as a trend. According to McKinsey Digital Sentiment Analysis, in Europe specifically, the use of digital channels has increased by an average of about 13 points. 13 percentage points. Now, how is Hyundai building up its online sales channels?
So this is very interesting, and even before the pandemic struck, in fact, in January 2020, we brought this concept of click to buy, which was the first end-to-end online platform on which actually the customer could complete the entire car journey right from the stage of exploration to the time of delivery, he could really do everything sitting at home or sitting at his office. And I'm happy to report that customers are really loving this, and we are receiving so many inquiries on our website, and this has really driven the customers' convenience. So basically, because earlier what we saw was that customer was probably visiting the showroom maybe 3 times to buy the car. Since CTB has been launched, the customer is now visiting the showroom probably only to take delivery of the car, and the entire other part of the journey, many of those customers are doing on click to buy. The other portion is, if we see the trends, in 2018, only 10% of the inquiries were digital. In 2021, more than 30% of the inquiries are digital. So very clearly the trend is moving towards digital inquiries.
Well, viewers, you've just heard Tarun Garg breaking down the company Hyundai's focus on beyond mobility and what it actually means, not just to them, but also to potential consumers. We leave it to that. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you very much.